Fellas, I think I'm having the worst trouble with this car. The worst luck with these belts. First of all, I lose my power steer... belt. Second of all, it takes out the AC belt by flipping it sideways. How does this happen, you says? I don't know. First thing, I'm accelerating up a hill, trying to keep up with the guy in front of me. Next thing you know, I lose 2 belts. Way to go. This'll interest you. Got a nice hot piece of rubber that made its way down there. Before that, it hit up here. Oh boy. Time to sell her. I think so. I left this apple in my locker for 2 weeks in a box. It looks fine. Nothing is safe, not even fruit. Not even fruit! Oh, hi. Okay. Yeah. So I've had a horrible gas smell coming out of here lately. I should say since the beginning of this year. And we're gonna try to get to the bottom of this and find out where it's coming from. I got a soap water bottle here. I'm gonna spray around the intake and see if there's any gases coming out. I know I need a new gasket, so I might do that on my lunch break. Here you can see the size of the grommet that had the foam on it there around the steering shaft. Yeah, I could get some foam and stick it on there. Another common spot is here for the throttle pedal. And right up there, I've got half a Band-Aid. That's on the top where some of the wires would go originally. So around the heater box, I'm also getting a little bit of airflow. The gasket's not perfect. It's an old car, nothing really seals perfectly. But we'll start with the throttle and then we'll do the steering shaft. And I have a horn button now. Here you can see that all of my exhaust ports were leaking out the top, which is good. I was wondering where that horrible smell was coming from. It's really a big pain in the butt to get everything out of here. I didn't feel like disconnecting everything, so not to mention that the headers don't really clear the A-arms there, which is kind of an issue. And this loom is not as high temperature as they say it is, so I'm gonna have to redo a bit of the wiring around here. However, everything looks okay. I don't know why the inside of the manifold is as black as it is, maybe because of the PCV system, some of the blow-by gases, but I got a rebuild kit on its way for the 38 DGEUS and a new spacer that's made to fit this carburetor. It doesn't have the 32-36 ports. I guess while we're here, I can try to take a look inside the valves with the flash on. We'll see if we can find anything troublesome. Numero 4. It's okay. Looks alright too. Here's number 2. Looks alright. Number 1. I'm saying looks alright, but I'm sure as soon as I watch the video out of the sun, it's gonna look like crap. Just kidding. I got a little more faith in my setup than that. You can see some of the wires here for the alternator. Could use a little bit of attention. They're getting on the toasty side. Hi. Lots of spaces where these cheap headers just don't fit. You know, I've had to dimple them here. That was a sad day. Make them fit. Oh well, you get what you pay for, and I paid $100 on Craigslist. Another thing I'd like to do is put my fan on. It's over there, painted and drying. But I'd have to realign the alternator too, just to make sure everything's good. Ah, that would explain it. Looks like my alternator bolt has popped out on the back side there. It's quickly becoming a big job. I guess you could say I'm having a particularly bad day with both of these cars. So I find out that one of the alternator bolts here has popped out, so my alternator was crooked, and that's probably what led to the pulley breaking on my last trip. And while I was pulling apart everything, I realized I had to get into that, and I'd already taken off the exhaust manifold, including the downpipe, the intake manifold with the carburetor, Big mess. Don't have time to get into it. So I thought, alright, well, at least the easier fix for me to get to the show tonight is going to be fix the 240. Just put the new belts on, since my alternator belts and power steering belts needed replacing. So I started working on it. I got the compressor, the AC compressor belt, which is really tight. All the alignment is just wonky because those brackets break and people put in fake little brackets and it's just never the same. The bushings, they fail and everything kind of gets wonky too. And then I find out exactly what caused the entire problem, where all the belts flung around and popped each other off. And it was that the bolt that holds the bracket that is the tensioner on the alternator broke off inside of the block. Just a clean break. Luckily I don't have to remove a lot to get to it. I can just stick the drill in there if I've got space, maybe the 90-degree drill, and just try to get a countersink bit in there and pull it out. That's the best case scenario. Worst case scenario, big headache. That's what it'll be. So that's what happened. The alternator, one belt flung off and it caught itself around the power steering pump belt, which then sheared off, and then it flipped around the AC belt. So, yay. Belts, alternators, problems. I'm just done. I'm so done for the day. I gotta go, I'm late. Looks like I'm taking the Forester. You know why? Because that thing is never broken. Man, you've gotta be kidding me. See that? Alternator bolt broken off in the block. Literally, both cars. Alternator bolt broken off into the block. How does that happen? One last thing I've discovered before leaving the house. You can see that the accelerator pump diaphragm has ruptured. It lets fuel in constantly at the wrong time, yada yada. This is a diaphragm that came on the rebuild kit on the 3236. So, you know, I swapped them out, and I guess it didn't last that long. So I ordered another rebuild kit. In the meantime, I put that one on here. Arthur seems to be okay for now. I've got an oil leak where the old fuel pump was. I need to put a block-off plate instead, and, you know, a new gasket around there. So that's kind of where we're at for today. I'm tired. It's the last day of the show, so I'm going to go and sing and dance one more time and get back to making videos more regularly. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a good Sunday. I was going to listen to some music, but I just remembered a very important tip that I told myself is anytime you're doing major work on an old car, turn off the music and just listen to it. Make sure everything's okay, because chances are you may or may not have forgotten something. Now, I've got my fingers crossed that I didn't forget anything today, but that leads me to a couple of other important points. One of them being, never trust your brakes. That's kind of an old car thing. And always trust your nose would be another major point there. If you've got a weird smell, don't ignore it. It's definitely something that you should address right away. Concerning brakes, here we go, downhill. Now, the new gasket has helped a lot. I don't get as much of a gas smell when decelerating. And I also wanted to mention that accelerator pump diaphragm, the symptoms of a failing accelerator pump are that you have a really hard time going between your idle circuit and your main drive circuit. So it'll idle really great, and as soon as you push the gas, it'll go and die on you. And you don't want that happening. So I'm getting a lot smoother transition. Of course, once the car warms up, it's better than when it is at cold. But it seems to be all right for the time being. You can hear, it doesn't choke out on me like it used to. Temperatures look good. The gas gauge is swaying back and forth. I put a brand new sending unit in there because the Sunpro one, really cheaply designed, and it fell apart rather quickly. Got one that's got a 1-year warranty, so if I have any issues with it, I will definitely swap that out. Okay, everything seems alright. This is really the command center right here. All the important numbers that you need to know. Let's see, if I decelerate, I used to get a lot of gas smell. Let's try it now. I think the biggest culprit was that exhaust gasket. Next to that, I have a few holes in the firewall that I need to swap out with, not swap out, but I mean fill up with some foam. My AFRs are looking pretty good considering that I've got the wrong jets in this car. Carburetor. I know I've already said goodbye before, but I just wanted to make another little update for the day, give you some more information on what could be happening. That 240 is gonna be a real headache. It is the straw, I am the camel, and this is my back. Well, Hat, it's been real. I've hated you, you've been itchy, you've been uncomfortable, you've been oversized and a little floppy. But when it mattered, you were there. One last time. What'd I tell you?